Okay, welcome everyone. So as you have seen from the email that I sent, this meeting is a bit more open on the topic compared to the other meetings. And the reason is because tomorrow there will be the first board meeting of Eumans tomorrow at 6:30. So we thought that tonight was a good idea to have a moment of discussion on the movement, but in particular on the priorities for the next months. In the past weeks, we focused very much on the EUkraineNow appeal, and for that, the most important idea that was also the object of last meeting is that we are aiming to organize on the 28th of May, Saturday, mobilization in as many cities as possible on the campaign for the accession of Ukraine to the European Union. We are currently in contact with an organization that I met in Brussels called Promote Ukraine, who is gonna help us to mobilize communities in different European cities on the appeal specifically. But I think the purpose for tonight is to do a bit what we already have done in Italy. So currently, thanks to the work that Lorenzo have done, we have three main goals as Eumans in Italy. Maybe Lorenzo can say something about that, because yesterday there was the first event in Naples to present Eumans and these three cornerstone initiatives: the EUkraineNow appeal, the initiatives for carbon pricing and the global appeal on carbon pricing, and the sortition-based citizen assemblies in Italy initiative Cittadine per il Clima. What I think is important to discuss tonight is which is the triad of initiatives at a European level. Two of the initiatives are of course the same, EUkraineNow and the global appeal on carbon pricing, but I think we can identify the third one in the European framework. On that, our proposal is to focus on the follow-up of the conference on the future of Europe, which is going to conclude its works next week in Strasbourg. There is going to be an important demonstration organized in Strasbourg called by the European Federalists, but this call is going to be followed by a lot of European organizations. And the idea is that to put pressure on the EU institutions to call for the European Convention. The European Convention is the institutional moment that can determine the changes in the European treaties, and it can be the only adequate follow-up to the recommendations that came from the citizens' panels from the Conference on the Future of Europe. One of these recommendations is also in particular around the Permanent European Citizen Assembly. So our proposal is that these three can be the cornerstone of Eumans. Second element for the discussion is to reflect on how we want to scale up Eumans, both in terms of the membership campaign, but also the reach for new activists and new people that can embrace the full project. So that's the framework. You might have seen some of the preparatory documents for the board meeting, but I'm gonna share the link in the chat. Maybe I ask Lorenzo to start telling us how was the event in Naples, because it was the first time in our history that we presented Eumans as such and these campaigns. And then the floor is open both on the strategy overall, the Eumans membership strategy, as well as, if you want, also say something on the 28th of May and Ukraine initiative. So Lorenzo.
Thank you, Virginia, for the introduction. I think the event yesterday was very precious, and actually we didn't expect it to present it like this at the beginning, but we had this good opportunity to have with us the coordinator, Marina Sodorova, coordinator of the volunteers of the Consulate of Ukraine in Naples. And so thanks to this, even one of the three requests at the heart of this campaign for sustainable peace was more understandable even for the public yesterday in the event. So after this first part in which peoples from Ukraine, refugees, and the network of volunteers helping in Naples, they had their speech and told their story, and we share with them the attempt that we are trying to have this big demonstration on the 28th of May for Ukraine in the EU. So we started with the first of the three requests, the one on the acceptation of the proposal to become a European member from Ukraine. And I think one thing that the event was good at is to grab new people interested in this mobilization, and so we can already, I think, work all together to enlarge the network of cities in which we will have this demonstration on the 28th. And I think it's very useful to give this very precise timetable for the campaign EUkraineNow, because one thing that was emerging also from question from the event is what I can do. Okay, I agree with the request of EUkraineNow, but what we can do. So this idea of having a huge demonstration on the 28th just to urge the European institution that on the end of June they will have there will be the European Council. So we have 1 month more or less to put a bit of pressure on this objective. I think this is a good strategy, and so I think that one of the things that we should do in this moment is to insist with this date and this mobilization on the 28th that is really connected to the broader objective of finding new people, activists, and person interested in the Eumans project. So the event, as Virginia was said, was maybe the first occasion in which we presented as a whole the three campaigns in which Eumans is currently engaged. And so after the first part on EUkraineNow, we spoke about global carbon pricing and bill of popular initiative in Italy, Cittadine per il Clima, for citizen assembly. And our initial fear that maybe this was too much to present so many initiatives to people who never heard about Eumans, I think then we noticed that it wasn't really a problem, even because the message of Eumans was really clear, to build a participatory based movement. And so there is somehow, a connection between these three initiatives, and even the name Sustainable Peace is good to make clear that we are doing something for peace in Ukraine now, but sustainable is a good way to say that we both think that peace must be sustainable, so not just neutrality, but also sustainability. I think it's a word that is very connected to sustainability, and given that some of our initiatives are related to sustainability objective, I think this was a good name that we found. So now this was just to share with you the fact that I think that the decision we had to base in these moments the campaign of Eumans on this title, on this message for sustainable peace is working. If we want to start from that to enlarge our movement, I think it's a good approach, and the 28 mobilization can give a very good help.
Thank you very much, Lorenzo. So I shared in the chat the two documents that are the key foundation for tonight. The first one you find basically an overview of the three initiatives in the European declination, so with the focus on the reforms of the European Union in terms of citizens' involvement. The fact that Macron won the election in France is of course a good news for Europe as well, given the role of France, given how France can lead the way also for the European Convention and the reforms, and how France in itself was essential for the launch of the Conference on the Future of Europe. The second document is a concept note for the EUkraineNow demonstration on the 28th of May. The idea, as I said, is to mobilize in different cities with the connections with the Ukrainian communities. Promote Ukraine was super happy for that. I mean, they spoke about the ability to mobilize thousands of people, which usually is not what humans can make happen. So this will be, of course, amazing. And the idea is to collect signatures on the appeal, so that then we can deliver these signatures to the European Council ahead of the European Council itself. There is, of course, a few contradictions within the EU institutions at the moment, both on the European Union accession for Ukraine. The Council is the key actor, as usual, as well as in the call for the convention. Okay, so the floor is open. If you want to raise your hands, write in the chat, we can have a bit of open debate on all of these things. If someone wants to speak in Italian, if you speak slowly, we can try also to translate you. I mean, if you will keep the speech short and you want to say something, maybe Lorenzo and I can make sure that those who speak in Italian get a short summary of what to say. We don't promise real-time interpretation. We're not there yet, but don't be shy. And I see also Hugh from Right Side Europe. Welcome, Hugh, and thanks for attending all our meetings. Feel free to share your thoughts on the initiatives that we're speaking about, but also, of course, the end-of-life decisions is a big topic for humans as well. So feel free to jump in if you want to share something on the European situation on that front that maybe is not the specific object tonight, but it's of course something we are working on.
May I say something?
Yes, please. Bye, Andrea. Frozen Andrea. As Andrea gets back, Andrii.
Okay, so hello to everybody. So from my part, I'm working now on this letter to the major of the cities. And so I found like two good contacts. It's one contact from Kiev and one contact from Lviv. In the page of these two government's page, they have a good contact because we can to call them or to write them. Also, they have some days connection with some citizen from Ukraine, so I can write from my emails also, to have some online meeting and also to speak with them. And yeah, I need a little bit more time to to translate this letter and also time to correct. So I'm sorry that I don't have prepared it for today, but it will be done it. And yeah, and thank you for everybody for participation and do this promotion for appeal. Thank you. So yeah, it's all the information from me.
Thank you, Andrei. Very precious information, in particular on Kiev and Lviv, which are both super meaningful cities. On Tuesday, I have the meeting with the municipality of Strasbourg. So I hope to have good news, because of course, once we have the first mayors, it's easier to involve others. And maybe you can have a look also at the concept for the demonstration, the second page that I shared, because maybe it's a bit more specific. It takes less time to translate all the documents, and it can help you to prepare something that maybe is even more specific for the 28th of May. Okay, Andrea Salimbeni is back.
Yeah, I don't know what, I disconnected.
Well, we understood that tonight is creative. Please, Andrea.
No, going to the point about the activities on the global emergency, the global price to CO2. I have already talked with Marco yesterday about, I think, the need of adding an introduction to our global appeal. The introduction should be more matching the global issues about the energy supply and the energy security. So I have developed a text, not to replace the existing one, but just to add as an introduction to the global appeal, which is based actually on the sustainable piece, because the global appeal at the beginning was just for sustainability in terms of global warming. Now we have a new reason to do it, and maybe people feel the emergency more than about the temperature and the climate issue. So I will send you soon. About a new activity, as talked already with Virginia and Lorenzo and Marco also yesterday about the sustainability and the political action to take. I would like to publish as soon as we can. I mean, a text which should be used for collecting activists about a specific topic, which is the topic of conflict minerals and raw materials in general. Starting from the point that the Commission is already has already a regulation about conflict minerals, but this regulation has two big issues. One is a regulation without a monitoring system. So they say you cannot do something, but they don't say how any country should monitor the aspect. And the aspect is that companies cannot use minerals obtained by mining activities in countries where a conflict is in place. The minerals which are mentioned in this regulation are four, and are mainly gold, strontium, and another one. The request should be to enlarge the range of conflict minerals, so of minerals included in the regulation, to set up a real existing monitoring activity to ensure that companies meet the requirements, and also, under suggestion of Flavia, to include as a mention in the regulation, which is not, which must be not only considering conflicts as an issue, but the respect of human rights as a key. So we have developed this text, which is one-page text, which we would like to use as a public document to create a network of activists, like a manifesto to be used to create something like an action and to go to the parliament and ask for this. Of course, the network should include members of European parliaments as well. After we have reviewed the documents quite many times to adapt and to make it easy to read, hopefully we could publish on the website or something. However, it is also true that I would like to have your opinion about how to use it at the best. So how to use these documents to collect support and to go then into the institutions. So this is a point I would like to underline. The idea is also to use an activist, which is Franco in the Netherlands, working as well on raw materials aspect, to have an event in July.
Thank you, Andrea. One quick question on this specific aspect. Is there any moment in the EU institutions where this type of issue is going to be discussed, as far as you know, like directives and or it's in the framework of the Green New Deal, like as far as you know about the institutional progression?
Unfortunately not, because this regulation is in place and it got in place last year. There was not I think the idea of enlarging, because it generated quite many problems to companies about the supply chain monitoring. However, there have been many members of European Parliament asking for clarification and for modifications of the regulation in the last, mainly 2021. The last was, I think, in November, and it was a German member of European Parliament, actually Popular Party, asking to clarify about and to modify the regulation to ensure that at least for those 4 minerals, it is respected by companies which are not respecting that much. There is an important organization promoting this issue, which is in Canada. The organization is the Institute of Sustainable Development. I have found the name of the author of the main reports about this, but I don't have the email account, so I cannot contact them.
Okay. Okay, sorry, phone ringing. Okay, I think on this raw material initiative, we should try and understand what is moving in the parliament. Maybe Eleonora Evi from the Greens can help us to find maybe a way, or maybe we can contact the German MEP that you mentioned, have a call with him to understand what can be done at the European Parliament level, which I think the more we use, the better it is. Okay. And then let's say without Marco, I find it more difficult. I admit I find more difficult without Marco to strategize on other strategies, but it's good that there is a document. And I don't know if it's already on Eumans Agora, maybe Andrea, if you already put it there, but it might be helpful to start to share the document internally so that we have a link and a reference. Talking about Eumans Agora, Albert was asking where I'll publish the documents that I mentioned, and I shared the link. For those of you who don't know, Eumans Agora is the Eumans Forum where we try to keep track of our ongoing discussion proposals. Everyone can publish content there, but also it's a reference for being updated about everything. Okay.
There is quite a lot of background noise. Don't know who. No, it is not you. It is not you. Okay, now it's fine. It's fine. Now it's fine. Sorry.
Just another quick update because I forgot. Next week there is gonna be also the relaunch of the EU Sign Day, which is the initiative that we had last year to promote the European right of signing European citizen initiatives. And ACID Foundation and Voters Without Borders are taking the lead on that with the help of Eumans. So we have a simplified version of the EU Sign Day, but so second edition for our initiative. Sibilla is asking if we have the translators. No, we don't, but Sibilla, if you want to speak in Italian, I can try and make a summary eventually in English. If
I'm sorry, because in a few minutes I have to go because I have a person that is coming. Tomorrow I'm going to try to speak in English, and but the only problem is that I have to set my mind, okay? And if I have some problem, you can help me, but I'm sure. I'm preparing for tomorrow, and the only things that I can say for today in the preparatory, Yana, sorry. In the preparatory test, I think it is important to put a title in every kind of initiative, because it's important that when you introduce some kind of proposal, you understand that there is a bigger scale, a bigger idea that you are following. For example, the development of the democracy, or the importance of Ukrainian, but that means that we need to develop the rule of law in Europe. No, it's something like that. That there is a okay. I have to check tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm going to be more ready on my speech.
It was perfectly clear.
Okay, now it's clear. That is a good step.
Yeah, it is.
Tomorrow I'm
going
to do
need
better.
to stop to be shy.
Okay, I'm very happy, and I have to go, but I see you tomorrow. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, thank you very much.
Sibilla. Thank you. So Andrea is asking in the chat for the updates on the ECI on cannabis. So last week we had a very quickly organized initiative with that sorry. 20th of April is the Cannabis Day in the world. So on that occasion, we co-organized this webinar that you have seen that tackled the issue on cannabis legalization from 3 scales. So the global scale, in particular, the role of international conventions and the impact on the nation-based regulation, the European perspective with some of the potential partners of the European Citizen Initiative, and the Italian level with the announcement of appeal against the decision of the Constitutional Court for the referendum. Thanks to Emilio De Capitani, we identified some changes that need to be applied to the text of the ACI. I see the hand of Lorenzo. I don't know if it's on this point specifically, but basically we will work on amend the text and try to submit it to the Commission for the preliminary phase in the next couple of weeks or so, but we need to first check that the text is solid. But the network is strong, and this is quite important. The fact that we are maintaining the existing network and expanding that, it's a good thing, because we have seen with stopglobalwarming.eu how much the network before the launch of the ECI is important. ECI stands for European Citizen Initiative, just to be clear, the official instrument of participation of the EU institutions. Lorenzo, Mineo, if you want to add on this.
Yes, it's just to integrate what you said and explain that if we were slowing down a little bit the timeline for this initiative is just because of this consideration of Emilio De Capitani, which was the co-author of the text, and he was noticing some mistakes, potential mistakes in the indication of the legal basis. So I would like to propose also maybe a good idea could be to invite him in a next meeting and have a dedicated meeting on the ECI on cannabis, because maybe if he directly can listen to potential comment from the network of cannabis activists, that's the best thing. So yes, maybe I don't know if next Tuesday, Thursday, or after, I don't know when, but could be a good idea.
It's indeed good to have a dedicated meeting. Maybe the best way to proceed would be to have him amending the text with the legal framing, and then call for the meeting on that text so that we collect feedback, we do a final round of review, and we publish. I want to remind all of us, I don't know if you have seen the list of names of the board, but Magdalena Dabkowska, who was also in the opening session of the Congress and the cannabis session, she is part of the Eumans board member, in particular with the focus on cannabis policies. So maybe, Lorenzo, we can have a chat on keeping, let's see tomorrow how the board goes, but maybe we can keep Magda in the loop on this as well. She doesn't have a lot of time, but she will help us for sure. Okay, I see a raised hand. No, it's Lorenzo. One important point, it's practical, it's about money, because of course all of these initiatives carry a cost, whether it's printing the flyers, whether it's traveling to somewhere, whether it is having translators when we need for the meeting and not only relying on the trainees. So I think we really need to start to think about the Eumans membership campaign. In the link on Eumans Agora that I shared, there is also a draft of a foundational document that Marco and I wrote on the messaging for our fundraising. And I think we really need to think about that, because for these past 3 years, we did a lot with our own resources, our commitments, the support of Associazione Luca Coscioni, but it's important that Eumans starts to build its own economic independence, because economic independence is the key for political success. So let's keep this in mind, and maybe I will also brief around if you want to say something about what each one of us can do for the membership. Personally, I used my queerness a couple of days ago to call for new membership for Eumans. It was the Lesbian Visibility Day, and I said that Eumans is a movement with a lesbian co-president. We can use different ways to attract new members, but the reasons why we believe in the project and call for people to join us to support the initiative, joking apart, and queerness is not a joke, it's important to keep in mind and to build the movement also from a sustainable economic. I'm putting in the chat also the document on membership that I was referring to. Okay, as our missing co-president always say, we don't stay in the meeting if we don't have nothing to say. So whilst everyone think if you want to add something, short summary on my side. So Ukraine Now, Lorenzo did the first event in Naples connecting with the Ukrainian community. Andrii is working on the contact with the mayors of Lviv and Kyiv for the support to the initiative, and I have the meeting with the mayor of Strasbourg next week. Our goal is to mobilize on the 28th of May in as many cities as possible for the Ukraine Now appeal. Then next week is Ukraine Day, second edition, plus the closing of the conference on the future of Europe in Strasbourg. From then on, Eumans will start to join the movements and civil society organizations that are working on the call for the European Convention and the follow-up to the European citizens panels of the conference on the future of Europe. So this third, tomorrow there is the Eumans board meeting. So we're gonna refine the strategies and the actions with our board members. Lorenzo, I don't know if the end is from before or a new one.
No, very quickly, because I forgot before to underline the involvement of the local community from Ukraine as the key element for the success of the event, but I think that it could be the key element also for the success of the 28 mobilization. So if we take the event of yesterday as a model, if any other activist, I think, wants to do something on EUkraineNow with the local community, this could be a very good move in a view to organize this mobilization on the 28th, I think.
Thank you, Lorenzo. For this point, I reshare the link with the concept for the 28th. It's super simple. The idea is to either organize a small collection point for the appeal or a large demonstration if you manage to. But the idea is to collect the signatures ahead of the European Council on the 23rd of June and to deliver these signatures in particular to Charles Michel, who is the president of the European Council, and Borrell, who is the High Commission, the High Representative for Foreign Affairs, I think is the name, of the European Union, which are the two actors among the EU institutions that might hold back the most on the request of Ukraine to access the European Union. The Parliament is in favor. The Commission is evidently in favor, given that von der Leyen went to Kyiv just to deliver the questionnaire. So I guess Madam President is on board. So we need to work on the two other actors of the institutions. So please really try. It's really about finding the local points of the Ukrainian community. It's plenty everywhere, and try to see if something can be organized, even symbolic. And we really can do something big with not a big effort, to be honest. So let's try and make it happen. Okay. So thanks everyone for joining. And so meeting with the board is recorded but closed doors tomorrow. And next month's meeting is next Thursday. I think I won't be there because I'm a speaker at the European University Institute, but maybe Marco and Lorenzo will lead the meeting next week. Have a great evening and thanks for your time.
Bye.
Ciao.
Ciao, ciao.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Ciao.
Bye.